This lesson is on the past simple or the simple past. We use the simple past to show that an action, state, or situation is finished. For example, Basho lived in the 17th century. He was a poet. He wrote poetry. He didn't stay in one place. Where did he travel? We often use the simple past with past time expressions. For example, yesterday, last week, 300 years ago, in the 17th century, by 1681. Here are some sentences with the past time expressions. Yesterday, I wrote my first poem. Last week, I read a poem by Basho. He died more than 300 years ago. He lived in the 17th century. By 1681, he had many students. For regular verbs, we're going to add ed to the base form of the verb. So most verbs, you only add ed to make it in the simple past tense. For example, watch becomes watched with an ed. Look becomes looked. Clean becomes cleaned. Play becomes played. All we did was add ed to these verbs to put them in the simple past tense. For verbs that already end in e, we just add a d. So for example, dance, like, love, and use, they all end in e. So all we have to do is add a d. Dance becomes danced, like becomes liked, love becomes loved, use becomes used. To make it negative, we have to use two helping verbs, did and not, plus the base form of the verb, or we can use the contraction did not becomes didn't, plus the base form of the verb. So for example, watched, past tense. If I said we didn't watch or we did not watch, we would be making it negative in the past tense. So looked becomes did not look or didn't look. Cleaned becomes didn't clean. Played becomes didn't play. So remember, when you're adding did not to the base form of the verb, you do not conjugate that to the past tense. It's base form of the verb. No ed with the didn't. Didn't clean. To make a question, you're going to use did plus the subject plus the base form of the verb. So for example, I watched TV last night is in the past tense, watched with an ed. But if I ask the question, did you watch TV last night? Again, it's the base form of the verb. Did you watch TV last night? More examples, did she clean the kitchen? If we want to answer in a long sentence, yes, she cleaned the kitchen. Or for speaking purposes, we can answer in a short sentence, yes, she did. Did the kids play soccer last weekend? No, they didn't play soccer last weekend. Or short sentence, no, they didn't. For regular verbs that end with a consonant plus y, we're going to change the y to an I and add ed. So for example, cry, it ends with consonant R plus Y. So we're going to drop the Y and add IED, cried. Study, again, it ends with consonant D plus Y. So studied, IED. Drop the Y, add IED for studied. Try becomes tried. Worry becomes worried. For one-syllable verbs that end in consonant, vowel, consonant, you have to be mindful of the spelling because they are going to double the last consonant before you add the ed. So for example, stop. That's one syllable. It ends in consonant T, vowel O, consonant P. So we're going to double the last letter P. So it's stopped with a double P, S-T-O-P-P-E-D. Same thing for chat. It's one syllable. It ends in consonant H, vowel A, consonant T. So we're going to double the last letter, chatted, with a double T, C-H-A-T-T-E-D. Drop, one syllable, ending in consonant, vowel, consonant. We're going to double the last letter, dropped, and then pin becomes pinned. Again, one syllable, consonant, vowel, consonant. We double that last letter before adding the ED. P-I-N-N-E-D. What do you hear when I say these words? Washed, laughed, looked, cleaned, played, pulled, visited, wanted, needed. Did you notice the three different sounds for the ED ending? The past tense ED can have a t, d, or id sound. There are three different sounds. We will go over this in another lesson, but for now, I just wanted you to notice the different sounds. And of course, in English, there's always going to be irregulars. So the irregular verbs, they don't follow any rule. You just have to memorize them. Some irregular verbs change just a little bit in the simple past. For example, meet becomes met, make becomes made, get becomes got. Some irregulars change a lot in the simple past. So be becomes was or were, go becomes went, do becomes did. And some irregulars stay the same in the simple present and the simple past. So put stays the same, put, cut, cut, cost, cost. And the verb read has the same spelling in the simple past, but it has a different pronunciation. So read, going to the simple past, you would pronounce it red, like the color, red. Yesterday, I read a book. We need to learn the irregular verbs by heart. There are more than 400 irregular verbs in English, but you only need to know about 50 to master basic English. Here are some of the most common irregular verbs in the simple past. So the base form be in the simple past was, were, come, simple past, came, get, got, give, gave, go, went, have, had, know, knew, make, made, mean, meant, say, said, see, saw, think, thought. Let's practice. Complete the sentences in the simple past. So you're going to take the word in parentheses and conjugate it into the simple past. Go ahead and pause the video to work on 1 through 7, and we'll go over the answers in just a minute. All right, hopefully you had time to pause the video and answer these questions. Let's look at the answers. Number 1, we watched a video on endangered species in science class last week. Number 2, I think I just saw a bear in our yard. Number 3, my sister received an award at last night's Distinguished Scholar Dinner. Number 4, yesterday we got an invitation to Aaron's birthday party. Number 5, my friends and I went to Machu Picchu last year. Number 6, the cat did not eat, or if we want to make it a contraction, we would say the cat didn't eat his food. Number 7, the email was very long. That's it for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. And we will be doing another video soon with the simple past tense pronunciation, the 3 different ways to pronounce the ED ending. Take care.